wanted to show you today this interesting new addition to the Pickaxe dashboard. So usually when you come in, this is what you see. Right here is going to be the system prompt. They made these dashboard additions up here, and there's two ways you can access them. So you can click here, you can get an AI helper, right? So there's this new AI helper section, and then there is an editor. You can just close the editor, and then there's a preview. So one has to stay open. So there's two ways you can access these, all at once, or the conventional view that we just got used to from before. So very interesting addition, but what I really want to focus on for today is this AI helper right here. So it gave me like 3 icebreakers, 3 options to choose from. And my system prompt is in POML format, which if you're on the intermediate plan, you get an immediate invite, or not immediate, well, you get invited into that studio and you get access to that tool. So POML is hands down the most advanced way to structure a system prompt for your GPTs or chatbots or AI agents. It's just how machines talk. So, but who is this tool for right here? So I clicked improve quality of response, and it shows you that some reasoning model that they have here. It started going through the system prompt, and it gave me this suggestion here. So you can click more and see more. It's looking at specific parts, kind of like Grok, if you've ever used Grok to refine your outputs. This is very similar. And it says, okay, this is the better version of it. The thing is, like when I clicked to implement it, which is right here, notice this, it removed my entire system prompt. If you notice, this is in natural language. It's not POML format. It's natural language. So for you guys, even if you're on the beginner tier or any of the advanced tiers, this tool is not for you. This tool is for somebody who is brand new to Pickaxe, who just started off, is like very new to AI. This makes the barrier to entry into AI very, very low. And it makes it very easy to work with chatbots in general. So if you guys have gotten to the advanced stage of using POML system prompts and you understand how to create them, then this is not a tool for you. However, sometimes it might have really good ideas, right? It might have very, very good ideas. Now, this works for Pickaxe as a new feature because it's evergreen. What that means is you can always get a chatbot to run with natural language, but you can't make it very reliable. You cannot make it consistent. You can't make it sharp and always on point unless you use something along the lines of POML formatting. It's just the industry standard. So this makes it easy for new users to get up and running, but it is not a standard that you should follow, in my expert opinion. So stay on POML or XML format if that's what you're doing. But you can always explore this new feature. Maybe you can get suggestions, and then you could go back and forth with your chatbot and then ask it like, hey, what do you think of this addition? Is it necessary? In most cases, it's not going to be necessary because POML is machine language. It's how machines communicate with each other. So this suggestion right here for modifying the role is condensed into a single sentence here, as you can see. It's like 2 sentences in a single paragraph. That's the role. So in natural language, sometimes you have to talk a lot to tell the AI what it's supposed to do, who it's supposed to act like, or what it's supposed to act like. But in POML, you could do that with just a couple of lines. And that's really the difference. But it is a great tool for Pickaxe. It's a nice addition that is definitely going to be user friendly for brand new users. And like, this is just, it's great. Also, let's take a look at this right here. Chat plus form and chat, or just form. Like, this is amazing. You could switch the type of tool while you're in the editor without having to go outside or create a new Pickaxe. So this just streamlines the process of creation, process of development, makes it that much easier to create chatbots. So this is really, really nice. I think I'm going to just dive in and start making some edits to a lot of the tools that I made for the PPA application so that you guys can really enjoy working with them. Something else I want to mention is now you're going to find voice input enabled on all the tools that I create for the PPA application, so that you could basically just vibe code your way into new chatbots and pickaxes, which I've been doing. So let me give you an example of this. I'm going to say, hi, I want you to revise this workflow JSON code and adapt it to N8N standards. The last JSON file was not being accepted when I tried to import it into N8N. Boom. Now, one thing to keep in mind is when you try to use any TTS, text-to-speech model, or speech-to-text model, what's going to happen is when you say N8N, let's try that again. N8N. You're going to get a different name every time. Sometimes I get Nathaniel, sometimes I get Nadine, sometimes I get whatever it is. So you just have to go back and correct. And that's pretty much it. So you can really just like vibe code your way into creating tools by creating tools that create other tools. So this is exactly what this tool is. And you guys are going to get it in lesson number 2, which is going to talk about Pickaxe and its relationship with different automation software. And yeah, it's going to be great. So that's going to be coming out really, really soon. Look forward to that. Another thing for this specific tool, like, it's just so good at diagnosis. So if you have a JSON that's not working, not being imported into N8N, it's going to do a couple of things for you. So it will either take your plan in and go back and forth with you asking questions to get the technical answers it needs to generate a full N8N workflow, and then it would output it using Copilot. I know it seems like it's on right here. Maybe this is a glitch with Pickaxe right now, I'm not sure, but it does actually output with Copilot. If, on the other hand, you want to diagnose, which is what I'm trying to do here, sometimes it just outputs the code like this, and it will go on until it needs to stop. So it's still outputting code. And yeah, it's just a really, really nice addition. So the voice input tool is just a really, really nice way to work with tools. It just makes it that much easier. So let's see what other new additions there are. So if you look down here to the right, it says show token usage. So this would hide how many tokens there are available overall for the context. And if you look here, I actually pushed this to the limit. We're using Claude 4.5 Sonnet, and the token window on this, or the context window, is about 200K. So this is the first tool that I pushed to the limit like this so that you guys can create, insane workflows, and it does a really, really good job. So yeah, this is really, really nice. Okay, additionally, I want to go into the actions section. I want to show you this new tool. So if any of you guys are traders, again, nothing I say is going to be financial advice, but if any of you guys trade stocks or are tracking specific stock portfolios, if you connect this, you can easily make a stock tracker. If you find the right MCP server, that's something that you can create. Let me know if you guys are interested. Maybe we can make a stock tracker tracking stock trades for Congress. See what those guys are up to. Yeah, that would be a nice little project we can do. So maybe I'll do a webinar soon when the webinar feature comes out, and I get the time, so we'll probably arrange that. Let me know. I'll run a poll down below, and if you guys are interested, I'll definitely make that. So yeah, this is a really nice addition. They've added a lot of new, really cool actions here. So Gemini Nano Banana, they've been really working on this to make Nano Banana work really, really well. If you guys are looking to create some Gen AI, these are older versions, but they work quite well. Like, you can use FAL models, you can use replicate models, and I know some members of the community that have done great work with generative AI models. There's one community member who's created like a version of Merlin AI, where you can chat with multiple models, and he's charging a similar price, or maybe like even cheaper than Merlin. But yeah, there's a lot you can do. Answer with Perplexity. You guys don't really need this right now. However, it is a very, very good alternative if you're using one of the new Perplexity models that were recently launched. So if you go ahead and you look at the recent models that were launched, all of them have a new tag. So every time you get that drop-down list, you're going to see them. So Mistral Medium is actually fairly new. It's been around for like 3 weeks. I already announced it. The recent one for Mistral is Magistral Medium 1.1. It's a reasoning model. However, I'm not sure if reasoning is enabled here. So we should actually, one of us should bring that up to the Pickaxe team, but it is actions enabled. It should have reasoning abilities, but it just doesn't have the tag right here. Also, yeah, so continuing on the Sonar track. So yeah, you have all of these. So the action, you don't really need it, but I suggest you use the action. And here's why. If you use the action, you're not going to run into the same trouble you would run into when you use any of these Sonar models. For example, I was testing out Sonar Pro the other day for the POML architect, just to bypass an issue with the AI not reading the knowledge base correctly. And I found that it's just vomiting essentially all of the info about the reasoning. All of the data for its reasoning and how it's thinking is just putting it all out there, and the formatting was pretty terrible on that. So that's something that Pickaxe still needs to work on in terms of these, but you don't need to go through the trouble of connecting that action as long as it's available in the LLM, because it does search the web by default, because that's what the API does. So if you check out the API documentation for Sonar, you'll notice that that's what it does. Now, I quickly want to touch on the Claude models. Now, 4.1 is really good for coding. Developers swear by it. If you connect it via API, if you want to create like a vibe coding tool here to generate code snippets or even like design UI elements, Claude 4.1 Opus is good. However, it's quite expensive. If you want like something middle of the road, I highly suggest Claude 4.5 Sonnet. It's really, really good. All these deprecated models they're not deprecated, but they're older. Like 3.5 Sonnet works for copywriting. This works for complex mathematical reasoning, for example, or some like agentic tool calling, for example. Some of them work for that. But 4.1 Opus is actually much, much better. But keep in mind the costs, right? So maybe if you don't have too many users, stay on the Pickaxe credits, but Claude Sonnet tends to be expensive. It's worth it if you're using it via the API, or if you are using it via CLI, which is also API, or better known as Claude Code. But if you use it on Claude Chat, you're getting a significantly degraded experience. This is how I would do it. These are awesome additions that were added, and yeah, Pickaxe just keeps like adding and refining. As you can see, like a lot of these UI elements have been updated, which is great. One more thing about the knowledge base, now citations are enabled. So if you want these sources to be cited, this is a great way to do it. Here's from my experience how this usually works really well. So for example, I create a lot of gems on Google Gemini because I have like an advanced business tier on Google Workspace. It's great for collaboration, creating docs on the fly. It's also great for creating gems. Gems in the Gemini ecosystem is just another word for custom GPT. So it's very easy to create and share them with your team on Gemini than it is on OpenAI, for example. And if you're creating a specialized agent, such as like in this case, if you're trying to research your knowledge base, it's much easier to get Pickaxe to cite sources for you than it is to get Gemini to cite sources for you. So if you find yourself fighting with Gemini sometimes for it to call your sources or cite them for you, this is a much better workaround. I am trying to lobby the Pickaxe team to get the full and latest version of Gemini to add it here, because currently we still have preview, which I don't know why they keep this API, to be honest with you, but I'm trying to get them to get the 2.5 Pro and Flash latest, which is really great for maintaining your knowledge base, for example, or step-by-step. If you're trying to self-host something, for example, and you're asking like specific technical questions, it does a really good job. And also when you're building applications, Gemini is a powerhouse. And that's if you're on an advanced version on the Google Workspace subscription, which, by the way, I do have an affiliate code for that. So if you go into the new resources section, you're going to find a database of affiliate codes, and then just choose what works for you. You can get some percentage off. I get a little bit of commission, which helps me pay the subscription fee to school.com and maintain this community. Yes, so quick recap, new design window. This shipped overnight, and it's daytime here for me. It's about 5 p.m. and I'm checking these out, and this is really, really nice. Like, it's kind of no-code developer friendly. They're implementing this, like right here, this code snippet right here, or code block. Like, this is great in the testing version. Formatting is much better. So really, really excited about what Pickaxe is doing. So these are really good steps. Like, they're kind of, sometimes they could be slow in shipping, you know, but now since they have a bigger treasury with the recent seed round, you're going to see a lot of these like platform updates start to come out, because they just essentially have more cash to hire developers, which is exactly what the platform needs. So this is great. Also, there is version control, by the way. So if you make a mistake, you can just go ahead and revert to previous versions. This is huge. You know, this is kind of like GitHub version control. So really, really nice. And then if you want to focus, for example, only on development, you could just close everything else. You could close the preview, close the AI helper, focus on the development. Once you set the configurations, you can then fire up the preview and then close the editor and then just like focus on the preview itself and see how things come out. So very, very interesting updates. If you guys have any questions, feel free to just reach out to me in the community via DM or just directly out there on any of the threads. And if you haven't already, go ahead and grab yourself a lifetime pass while it lasts, because as soon as production on these courses is done, we're just going to roll into monthly. If you buy a lifetime pass, it will be honored forever, and you will always get monthly credits because you would get invited into the studio for the PPA studio. And of course, you could use these applications that I'm creating here for your clients, for your own projects. So that's not going to be an issue at all. Let me just give you a brief rundown. So here is the POML prompt architect. Here is the Actionsmith. So POML prompt architect, from the description, you can generate unbreakable POML system prompts for your Pickaxe agents. Really, you can create POML style outputs essentially for any agent you are working on, right? So as you can see, this is what is going to come out. Some community members are mistaking this for code. It technically is, but it not necessarily is code. It's formatted using a specific coding format under XML called POML. And I did add documentation on that in the intermediate track, so you guys could go and check that out. And the great thing about this is, as I mentioned earlier, this is how machines talk. This is how you condense language and format it so that machines or agents understand each other. So if you do it this way, it's ridiculously sharp and accurate. Actionsmith, how to generate Python and JSON actions. You can use the Actionsmith. It's going to ask you a series of questions. It's going to help you get it done. If you have an issue with your actions and it's being really stubborn, don't waste your time a lot. Don't waste your time. Come here to Action Diagnostics, answer these questions, input the data that it needs, and it's going to solve it for you every single time. So this is what's available right now. And then this N8N flow generator is coming very, very soon. Just putting the final touches on it. It's going to generate workflows that you can essentially go and import here into your N8N, and it would show you how. And I'm going to show you how to self-host N8N. This is coming very soon, in between the intermediate and the advanced tiers. So you guys can check that out very, very soon. I'm going to create a video here, essentially a webinar initially, and then we'll save that in the resources section so that we build up a resources library. So as you can see, like, the community is considered a startup at this point, and you know, we're getting there. We're getting there. So thank you for your patience. Thank you for sticking around, and thank you for your feedback. I really, really appreciate it. It does help me improve and ensure you guys are getting the